Hey everybody, this is Steve Kodad of the Feng Shui Cure. A long time ago, several videos ago, I mentioned how important it was with respect to the flow of energy or qi. So we're going to talk a little bit about the actual surfaces and how the qi actually reacts to it. So we're going to look at different surfaces like rugs, marble floors, hardwood floors, and see how everything reacts. So you probably even have a pretty good idea just by looking at these pictures which one probably moves the fastest. The marble floor, for example, on the left-hand side definitely speeds up the movement of energy. Now, when would we like to move the energy a little faster? Well, there's going to be parts of your house that are very important to you, and they might be in the back of the house, or they might be on the second floor. But they're not getting the energy that you're looking for. You're not getting the feeling that you want. So you want to move it there a little faster, starting at the front door. So we're going to talk about that as we get into these slides. But you can see that the marble floor on the left-hand side definitely gives you the impression that things could be moving pretty quickly. Now, we talk a lot about straight pathways. And here's one in a house, here's one in a school. And they both react the same way. They move the energy really, really quickly. And in some cases, way too fast. So we have to take that into account. We need to slow it down. You learned again a long time ago that we need to get it into a meandering pattern so that it actually stays a while and nourishes the whole environment. These particular rooms are also examples of qi moving a little bit too quickly. Now, if you notice, there's an awful lot of straight lines in these pictures. And conceivably, the house that you live in, or maybe the houses that you're trying to sell, maybe don't have all these straight lines. But I want to show this situation as being one that needs to be cured. We need to be able to slow it down and get it to rest a while, and therefore make that particular room comfortable, more comfortable than it is at this point. Now, what do you do in a long hallway like in a school? Well, it's the same thing you're going to do in a hallway at your house. You're going to want to try to break it up. And I'm talking about the visual part of it, but also by putting in some obstacles. So we need to break it up as much as we can by putting things like posters and paintings. Okay? And you certainly, even in a school, could put in some obstacles like some plants, a trophy case, and so forth. So the better we control the energy coming down these halls, you'll find out it really creates an environment that's much more pleasing and comfortable for the student and, of course, the teacher. You've seen this before and after, but again, it's something that I keep coming back to keep repeating things that are very important. You want to use obstacles, but you need to worry about obstacles like you see with that bench on the top left, just inside the door, and also, of course, the bicycle, which will never stay there. But those are obstacles that are negative obstacles. The bench, somebody could actually bump into it. They could actually, bump it in with their knee or their shin. Whereas the bicycle is really sort of the same kind of a problem. It's going to be very difficult for somebody to actually move by that bicycle. So we want to try to use obstacles, but we want to make sure that they're spaced correctly, that they are secure and safe, okay? And of course, it would be nice if they fit in. And we want to move the energy from room to room in a meandering pattern. So again, the surface that you put down in a room, or the surface of the listing that you're working with, can be very, very important of how quickly things move. In this particular case, this after, the floors were changed to a hard wood. So certainly everything's going to speed up more to the back. And in this particular example, that's actually positive. We wanted to get the energy a little faster back to the back of the house where we had our den and our kitchen, where the family actually spent most of their time. We also wanted to use obstacles, like you see that plant up at the door, but we needed to, of course, move that plant more centered to the mirror so that it wasn't something that we would bump into. We wanted to get into a meandering pattern. The mirror and the obstacle, the first obstacle, will help also get the energy to that room off to the right, which is sort of lacking, sort of missing a lot of this nourishing energy. So there's a lot of different surfaces out there. You know that. There's an awful lot of possibilities that you're going to run into when you list a home. Again, marble really, really moves it fast. And I guess you could say down at the bottom is probably as slow as it's going to get, a shag carpet. Okay? So depending on the length of the carpet, the pile, okay, things are going to be a little faster or a little slower. So you have to take those into account. These particular surfaces are sort of in a chronological order. We have marble, granite, so forth. So keep in mind what you have to work with, and keep in mind that we want to have the energy stay in that room a little longer. We don't want it to just rush right out. And if you have, for example, just a hardwood floor, it's very conceivable it's going to be very pretty, but the energy is going to come in and leave maybe too quickly if you don't do something about it. Again, it's a beautiful floor. Looks really nice, but without the use of some throw rugs, energy is not going to stay very long. So you need to get used to coming up with the idea of how to correctly use a throw rug if it's a surface like a hardwood floor or a marble floor. Now the runner coming down the hallway that you see on the left-hand side actually creates sort of a pathway for the energy to move, okay? But it also slows it down so that the foyer is more welcoming. It holds the energy a little bit longer before it releases it. The one on the right-hand side, that circular rug, I love using circular rugs in particular rooms, especially in the foyer area. If we have a room to the right and the left, I want the energy to come through the door, hit the circular rug right away, sort of go into a spinning pattern, and then distribute more evenly the energy to the left and the right and straight ahead. Now, Berber carpet has become very popular, and in most cases, it slows energy down nicely, but it doesn't slow it down so much that we have to then get it moving again. So it's a very nice surface. It works very well. But again, the thicker the pile of the carpet, the slower it's going to be. You know, you're going to see in some of these cases that it might be too slow. And when you get into wall-to-wall carpet, you know, you're possibly, it's going to sort of end right there and leave very slowly at that point, maybe too slowly. Again, shag carpet is probably as slow as it's going to get. And I apologize for the right-hand picture. Probably doesn't get any worse than that for a lot of reasons. But those surfaces definitely are going to slow things down considerably. And possibly, in this case, we might not even get the energy upstairs in a very timely manner. So the type of help that you're looking for power throw rugs on surfaces that are, again, very shiny, very speedy. And you can imagine on the left-hand side, if that throw rug was not there, that bedroom would probably be not quite as comfortable. The same with the den or formal living room on the right-hand side. If that wasn't there, just some chairs and a bare floor, it would not come off as comfortable for their consciousness or their subconscious. Plus, it moves the energy too quickly, and it just doesn't stay. A lot of modern homes have a lot of problems with respect to holding energy. This particular home right here really is not holding the energy in this particular social environment. So it's not going to be real comfortable. You probably could use a bigger area rug that might even extend underneath both those large couches. Again, that rug is probably not going to be quite sufficient to make that area that they have created on the left-hand side come off as comfortable as they want. It's definitely going to be more comfortable, but it might not be efficient. And in a lot of cases, like you do with any feng shui cure, you sometimes have to just take your time and see how it goes, see how it feels, and then add, if you need to, add more. But in this case, it's conceivable that other than that, maybe that one corner, that this room is not going to be comfortable. These rooms are not gathering any chi, really. It's rushing in and out, and it's not a very comfortable setting for anybody. Most people would even look at these rooms and not feel comfort. Now, these two tried. The one on the left-hand side has a circular rug, so, sort of holds it in nicely. There's several things about the left-hand picture that are a little out of whack. I hope you can see at this point that it's way out of balance with respect to the 5 elements. Okay, but that rug, which is made of like a reed, is not going to hold it as long as you'd like. The rug on the right-hand side definitely helps, and definitely in a modern setting is probably about as good as it's going to get in there. So that really works pretty well. But as you know probably at this point, a lot of modern contemporary homes have a warmth problem. And so therefore bringing in some more of the fire element, which this person did in the rug and in the pillows, definitely help to create more warmth and comfort. Again, you want to use an area rug so that it sort of pools and then distributes it evenly, depending on the material that is used in the particular rug. It could go quickly or it could stay longer, especially in a very social room like the one on the, well, actually both of these, but let's take the one on the right. You want it to stay probably a little longer than that rug is going to keep it. So again, you probably just need to take your time, see how you feel, see how your visitors feel, and then correct it maybe with a different type of material, maybe a little thicker pile. Now, proportion is just as important here as it is anywhere else in the house or outside the house. The piece of carpet they're using on the left-hand side, they probably just got it as a remnant and they just threw it down, and it just doesn't quite work. But you can definitely go too small also. Again, I like using circular rugs at the foyer area. It sort of slows it down a lot more, puts it in more of a circular spinning pattern, and then distributes it a little more evenly. Conceivably, at one time or another, you have seen a really large foyer. And sometimes you have probably seen an obstacle right in the middle of it. And that actually works out perfectly for several reasons. One of them is we do not want the first thing that we notice when we walk in is to see the back of the house or the back of the school or the back of the business. We want our sight line to actually be able to take in the left and the right before we move on. This particular situation has a nice circular table, which has got no poison arrows on it, which is very positive. The rug that it's sitting on also slows the energy down too. So it comes in, slows down on the rug, forces the energy to go around the obstacle, putting it into a meandering pattern. So again, the distribution at the foyer is something you want to think of right away. As you know, the energy primarily comes in the front door or the entrance, the mouth of Qi. So you need to give special attention to that area. It's even important to think about contrast. Now, the one on the left-hand side, to me, does not have enough contrast. We have a floor that is more, you might say, blonde and light. And then the runner they put down is really basically somewhat of the same. So the contrast is not real good. Contrast is always something that can consider inside and outside of a house. The contrast on the right-hand side is definitely better. It could be even better than that, but it's definitely better. So again, we're talking about the movement of Qi. We don't want it too fast. We don't want it too slow. We want it just right. We want to put it into a meandering pattern. The one on the left-hand side is moving the energy down that hallway a little too quickly because we have not done anything to help on the floor. Now, if the floor was wall-to-wall carpet, you don't need to worry about it as much. It does have an obstacle there that sort of catches the energy and pushes it to another side, therefore starting it into a meandering pattern. The meandering pattern is happening pretty well on the right-hand side with the obstacle, but the runner definitely helps even more so to slow it down before it enters that very welcoming living room in the back. Even what is at the end needs to be taken into account about what type of rug or runner you put down. The one on the left-hand side, the runner has nice contrast to the floors. It's leading into a very comfortable back of the house, possibly a library, a place that you really want to feel very secure and very comfortable, and possibly do some tasks like reading or meditating. And in this case, it slows it down nicely. In the other picture on the right-hand side, I wanted to show you the obstacles. They're done pretty well. And the actual runner also slows it down before it gets into the room and in the back. So in summary, you want to have a path that is uncluttered to all areas of a home. You want your energy to go to all areas of the home. And to get that done, you don't want it too slow, you don't want it too fast, and sometimes you have to take a little time to get it right. The rug inside the front door, you can't go wrong with a circular rug inside the front door. Again, it distributes the energy a little more evenly. Do you need a runner every time? No. But if you have a floor that moves the energy real fast and you want it to hesitate and maybe energize the front of the house a little more, okay, then maybe that runner needs to be placed down. So we need to slow it down in a specific room sometimes. You certainly want to slow it down in the room you see to the right. You want it to come in, you want it to stay, you want to make it feel very comfortable and very secure for yourself.